comes over here and says, this is nothing. I'll show you what is a temple. And he builds a much larger temple. It's not only to glorify himself, but it is for a very important reason. Urban population allowed a lot more pilgrims. You can come from all the way Cairo for 2 months. It takes you a month to come over here, 2 weeks to be here, another month to go back over there. But it was far away distance in those days. But because they're not farmers anymore, they're urban people, they can come anytime they want. And so he needed a much bigger space at the top. So it has practical reasons as well. He destroys whatever is there, flat it up, and he builds 4 big retaining walls. One that you see in front of us over here, the other one goes across where the city wall is in the middle of it. You can see underneath the black dome and down how the city wall attached to the southern wall of the temple. Got it? And then you can see the white corner over there in the back that leads to the right. That's the beginning of the western wall, the Wailing Wall. So it's the western wall, not of the city, but of the Temple Mount retaining walls. Okay? So he's building up giant retaining walls. On top of that there is a plaza, and on the plaza he builds a temple. The temple is built according to Deuteronomy, to the Bible. But because he is Roman, on the outside he can do whatever he wants. So on the top of, around the wood plaques and the cloth cover, he puts marble, beautiful marble building on the top of it. That giant marble building was covering over, and I'll show you how it looked like later, that was covering over the wood and the cloth that was inside, the Deuteronomy shrine. He didn't call it a second temple, we call it second temple. Okay? Now, that was standing to the right of where the Gold Dome is, because the Gold Dome is standing on top of Mount Moriah. And Mount Moriah is the altar for Abraham and Isaac, the altar of first temple. Now it is the altar of the second temple. You want to see where the Holy of Holiest was? To the right of the Gold Dome there's a 4-arch gate. You see that?
Yes.
Front of it, our direction, there is a little black dome. That is called the Dome of the Spirit, and that is the entrance to the Holy of Holiest. That's where there was a curtain that was torn in half when Jesus died on the cross. Okay?
Okay.
Now, if you came from the west, you came into the city of Jerusalem, and you walked up to the temple through the southern steps. You see the black dome across from us? Down from it you can see 2 sets of steps, one attached to the wall and one a little bit closer to us, narrower. You see that? Those are the stairway going in and out the temple. That's where the disciples were talking to everybody in their own language, speaking in tongues. And the Pentecost. You spoke to anybody going in or out of the temple right on those steps over there. I took Neil Armstrong over there, the astronaut that was on the moon, and he cried. He said, this is much more than a step over there for me.
Wow.
He was crying over there. Took him the second time, 2 years later, he cried again. He was a big cry. Anyway, you see that the steps down, starting down below the platform, right? But it goes up to the platform level, and then you would see the whole giant platform, big enough for 500,000 people to be on.
Really?
In the middle of that was the inner court. The inner court was only for Jews to pray in. Only Jews were allowed to cross. There were plaques about this big that were on a fence all around saying only Jews are allowed to cross, and the Romans allowed the Sanhedrin to execute anyone that will violate that law, that will go in but is not a Jew. And there were plaques in Aramaic and in Greek. 3 of those plaques were found. Unfortunately, it was the Turkish days, so they're in Turkey. They're not here. I cannot show you those. But they were found over there in archaeological digs. Now notice that there are trees on the Temple Mount, right? Trees don't grow on nothing, on air. There is dirt underneath it. All the first temple and the beginning of the second temple days is crushed in by Herod. But it doesn't go all the way. You see, the trees stop in a certain line. Because the last part of it are big arches holding the roof on top, which is the floor of the Temple Mount. Why did they do that? So there won't be too much dirt and it wouldn't push the wall down. Those arches are called by mistake Solomon arches. It's got nothing to do with Solomon's tables, but it's called Solomon's tables in the books. Just a name. Okay? But that is where the Crusaders started their career over there, as the Temple Mount Crusaders were the Templars, the Templar Knights. They started down over there. Now, There was a temple up over here until the year 70. A building that was bigger than the Gold Dome building. The Gold Dome building again is on the top of Mount Moriah, the rock that's why it's called the Dome of the rock where Abraham and Isaac walked up to, or according to Islam, the rock on which Muhammad ascended to the heavens and came back and went down to Medina, 2,600 miles away from here in a one-night journey. How did he do that? I can give you a Jewish answer if you look at me. Anyway, up over there, and where the Gold Dome is, that was the altar. The Holy of Holies was a larger building standing to its right. That is destroyed by Titus. More than that, whatever was built above the platform was destroyed by Titus. Above the platform, but the platform is original. At the southern side, where the building with the black dome is, the Al-Aqsa Mosque is, was the southern portico. The royal portico is where the money changers and the pigeon sellers would be. Why do you need money changers at the temple? Because what's on a Roman coin? Images. You're not allowed to use images. Remember the second command says, thou shalt not have graven image. So if you wanted to give monetary gift to the temple, it has to be a coin that doesn't have an image. So there were 3 silver coins, half shekel, shekel, and pelech, that were issued over here. They were minted here in Jerusalem without a Caesar's face on them, without an idol on them, that they can be used over here. There was another one type of a coin that was not with an image on it, and that coin was the coin of the mite, the smallest coin. It was too small, too petite to put an idol on it. So it has just a corona, a sun on it, that's all. And these mites were 5 of them or 6 of them are good enough food for about a day for a whole family. Okay? Now you realize that widow that didn't have any money, big money, she didn't have any bull to give or a goat to give. She wanted to give her 3 coins, and it was rejected by the priesthood. And that is the widow's mites, as they're called. There's no type of a coin called widow's mites. They're mites that are connected to the story of the widow. Okay? And you'll see people around selling them. They're worth about $20 the most if they're in good shape. All right?